How do you select all your drones and then deselect 2? Shift click. So you have the drones in your command card. You shift click out 2, and then you shift click out 2 more after you right click them onto a target. So you would tell basically all drones attack that probe, but then you deselect 2 of them, and then you have that selection of units, and then you say new assignment, guys. All drones attack that probe, and then you deselect 2 of them. Those 2 keep with that task, and then you say all drones attack that pylon. Here, I'll draw it for you. Maybe I can draw this with paint. Maybe. Maybe. I'm a shit artist, but maybe. Okay. Let's go to this one. Oops, that's the wrong scene. Whoops. Boo. Okay. So, you want to not die against Cannon Rush. Well, I will show you some stuff. Let's start with a hatchery. Beautiful Zerg hatchery. What the hell is this? Excuse me. Look at this hatchery. Let's fill this in. Beautiful. Let's also do a mineral line. Let's also do some gas. And then you've got your drones. Nope, nope, nope. Brushes. Drones. You've got your drones here. The drones. And then you have your other base here. It's being built. Down the ramp, let's just draw the cliff here. There's a cliff. There's a ramp. And then this is your main base. This is your natural expansion. There's a ramp down here. And there's a base area here. You have a expansion here. Pay no regard that these hatcheries are different in size. That's not the point. Don't get hung up on the details now. We've got your minerals back here. We've got some gases. Astonishing. Vespine. Okay. This is a base. However, this is a base that's about to be cannon rushed. And we're going to talk about how this works. So, you have a nasty little probe, and the probe wants to give you a bad time. So what they do, first thing, is they try to drop a pylon in your base. Now, what is the first step in having successful cannon rush defense? Can anyone in the chat tell me? What is the first step if you're going for a hatch first to have a successful cannon rush defense? There should be an overlord at the natural. I name my overlord Francisco in the Funny Business Overlord because Francisco exists to catch this kind of bullshit. So Francisco is up here in the air. It's a wonderful overlord. Just kind of sitting. Sometimes he'll hover around this area, but let's just say he's right here. The beautiful overlord. He's got his happy little legs. He's got little antennae. He's a happy guy. Look at this guy. He's floating around, but he sees this over here. This is important. A lot of times, you die to a cannon rush because you have nobody looking around. A hatchery that's in production doesn't have as much vision range around it as a hatchery that's complete. Because it's not like fully developed yet, it doesn't have its eyes. If you're thinking about the lore of the hatchery being constructed. So this here is not done yet, and the Protoss has just put a pylon down. And this is when a lot of Zerg players to your heart starts doing this, and you're just like, that's okay. The first thing that you have to accept is that StarCraft is an intense game, and that defending attacks is stressful. But you don't need to resist that reaction within yourself. You can accept that as a natural human response to facing chaos, trials, and tribulations. So just try your best. You are now in the fun mini game that many people dislike, known as Cannon Rush Defense. But war is upon you, like Aragorn said in the Bible, and you have to defend it. So this is what you do. This is what you do. Remember this. 2 drones per probe. 4 drones per building. Every building. Pylons. Do you put 4 drones on that? Yes. Cannons. Do you put 4 drones on that? Yes. Shield batteries. Do you put 4? Yes. But they need a cyber core to make shield batteries. So the initial rush should be pylon and cannon and maybe a gateway. If it's a gateway, you can surround it with drones to break through and get to sometimes a cannon. I'll show you one kind of cannon rush that Protoss will do sometimes, which is, let's go to the nice pylon shape again. They'll put a pylon kind of here next to the wall, and they'll put a cannon. Oops. They'll put a cannon, say here. And then they'll put a gateway. What's a good gateway shape? Here. To block it. The way that you would get to this cannon is by putting 4 drones on this pylon, and then you could put 8 drones or so. Just try to surround this bad boy with drones. And then one thing you can do is shift attack the next target. So let's say we're talking specifically here about these drones that are attacking against this. What we want to do is have them right-clicked to this gateway and then shift right-click to this cannon. That means that they'll attack this gateway until it's either canceled or killed, and then they will automatically go and start attacking this cannon. These drones here, they're attacking this, and then you shift right-click this here. So that as soon as this pylon is killed, the drones will immediately start attacking this. This saves you a lot of, I need to go back to this. You queue up the next thing that you have to do. You can use this tactic in a lot of different scenarios regarding cannon rushes in different places as well. Let's look at, say this cannon rush is starting to get set up. You've got a cannon here, like we saw in the replay just a moment ago. You've got a cannon here. But look at this area. This area is looking pretty congested. What's another trick that we can do to make sure there isn't a building that's put there? Whenever we box our drones, we can just box them before we grab them down. We bring them down here. We have, say, 4 attacking this cannon, 4 attacking this pylon, 4 attacking this. And if you have a leftover drone that's kind of derping around and not doing anything, you can tell it to patrol back and forth right here, like this. You have 1 drone that patrols right here. So the probe can't make any buildings there because there's a drone in the way, and if they try to make a cannon, it'll go whatever the probes say when they can't make something. You could do the same thing here, patrol something right there. You could do something like, say there's a congested area right here, patrol some drones. Patrolling a drone is like denying a new cannon being made. It takes too long for a probe to focus down the drone, and even if they did, that time they spend with the probe attacking the drone, they cannot spend in making buildings. So it's still good for you if you have some drones that are patrolling around. If you feel like, oh crap, this cannon is done and I'm starting to lose my drones that are around these, just get out. Just get your drones and get out. If you've lost this location, you should fall back and you would treat it like you are the river that has just been dammed up. Where you used to be flowing down into the natural, and that was kind of your progression of you were flowing downhill and then you're going to saturate this space as you're droning up. What the Protoss effectively does, if they cannon rush and they deny your base, is they dam up the river, like so. This is a dam. Damn, that's a dam. But you can still increase your worker count above 16. How do you get over 16 workers and still mine well off one base? You take both of your gases. So that's your emergency response here. We'll say if go bad and you can't stop it, pull back to main, take second gas, 1 queen, overlord, so you're not supply blocked, and you're also going to lose the supply of your hatchery. You could say cancel that if you can. 1 queen, overlord, then ling speed, plus lair, plus roach warren, and then you can do a ling queen ravager attack Nidus. Ling queen ravager Nidus attack is pretty good. You can do this outside their natural and try to corrosive bile the wall. Use the queens to defend your ravagers against void rays, and then just try to break through the wall. Or, and this is a mistake that a lot of Protoss players make, they don't fill vision in their own main, and if you get a really fast lair, they oftentimes won't expect you to just Nidus all that stuff in the main. And if you take the main base from the Protoss, Obi-Wan Kenobi, y'all saw Star Wars, so you know what happens. So you have the option of either defending your natural with drones, using the 2 drones per probe, 4 drones per building, and then we can add in patrol drones to deny new cannons. We'll just leave it at that because there's no more room. There we go. Beautiful artwork here. You can patrol drones here, here, and then you also want to do the shift attack where you're queuing up the next attack. Shift plus right click drones for their next attack target, saving you a lot of effort and a lot of clicks and going back to stuff. So these workers here, they can attack this until it's dead, and then they'll automatically go back to this, which means you can still make stuff. And then that brings me to another point, which is don't forget to keep spending your larva. And that means drones until pool, then ling queen. Do you recommend trying to sneak a drone out and set up a secret base? That's good. If you can do that, that's a way to basically give yourself another option later on. And it is cheaper than Nidusing out and taking another base because you have to spend a 100 mineral, 100 gas Nidus exit to get the drone out. So we can put that as another tip here. Try to sneak a drone out. And then another thing you can do if you're trapped in your base is you can also overlord drop a drone out. That's another cheeky way to just get a drone on the map. In the case that they dammed up your base and they have a bunch of cannons down here, you obviously can't just walk a drone down the ramp and out and take a base somewhere else, but you can have an overlord over here and then you drop it down the cliff. Sweet. This is a quick cannon rush things you can do tutorial. I know cannon rush situations are very stressful, and each one is kind of unique based on where the Protoss chooses to put the pylons and cannons, and also how many probes they send. If they send 1 probe, it's usually a pretty light commitment. Well, it's less of a commitment than 2 probes. A 2 probe investment is twice as much mining time lost for the Protoss, so they really need to get your natural. So you wouldn't feel too bad about having to cancel your natural against a 2 probe cannon rush. You can just make those Roach Ravager units and then use Corrosive Bile and bust out. Corrosive Bile has greater range than cannons. So you can just Corrosive Bile, back up, wait until Corrosive Bile is off cooldown, Corrosive Bile them again, back up. That way you don't have to trade your actual units, you can just spend your cooldown to kill them. And Roaches don't have, or sorry, Ravagers don't have energy that you have to spend, you're only spending a cooldown. Ever countered a cannon rush with swarm hosts? That used to be more common. It takes a lot longer because you need to wait for your lair to be done, and then you need to make an infestation pit after the lair is done, and then you need to make some swarm hosts. And usually the first couple swarm hosts can't just sweep the whole cannon rush by itself, and your opponent will often go either Void Rays, which are pretty good at fighting swarm hosts if they can deny the Nidus and get on top of the actual swarm hosts, or Robo is the other most common thing, and that puts them pretty close to Colossus. And Colossi deal bonus damage to light units, which means they can zap your Locust pretty well. I will say that swarm hosts are pretty larva efficient units, so the plus side of using swarm hosts there is you only have 1 base of larva income. Swarm hosts spend larva pretty well. But personally, I like doing Ling Ravager with Queen and Nidus. That gives you a lot of like immediate burst damage potential. The Ravagers complement the Queens because the Ravagers can do pretty well against ground and buildings, and the Queens can protect the Ravagers against air, and they can also transfuse. So I like going the Queen in the main, and then if I can't defend the natural and I'm just stuck in my main, I'll get a lair after the first Queen, I'll get Ling speed, and then when my lair is done, I'll get another Queen plus a Nidus, and then I'll be making Roaches, really just like 3 to 4, and then you can make a couple of those into Ravagers. So you just need to make sure you save enough money for the Nidus exit. Best of luck to you with this. If you have any situations where you die to a cannon rush and you feel like none of this stuff worked, I'm kind of curious to see what you faced and what you could have done better. So you could post a replay in the Neuro Discord or maybe put it in the comments of this YouTube video. Thank you for tuning in, and best of luck versus the various bullshit that Protoss can send your way, fellow swarms. GG.
Yay! Fucking got him.
Wait, this is a YouTube video? It's about to be. Is Neuro bamboozling us again? No, it's that was a YouTube thing. We recorded it. We did this live.